Welcome back to the Echo Chamber Podcast, the only podcast where two comedians read the Wall Street Journal because one of us gets it for free from work. And we're going to give you a little rundown on the stories we are going to cover today on the podcast. Trent, what do we got first?
Well, Joe, you know Ultimate Frisbee.
Boy, do I.
Well, apparently there's a tiny Christian college that's the best Ultimate Frisbee, and everybody else is pissed.
Well, that's the least surprising thing I've ever heard in my life. That's where Ultimate Frisbee goes, to Ultimate Frisbee. Trent, the Apple Vision Pro, the people that bought it, they regret it.
Oh, no shit.
We're going to hear about that as well.
No fucking shit.
Turns out, and who could have seen this coming, Apple Vision Pro, bit of a flop. Bit of a bad investment.
Wow. Well, Joe and my final story, not our final story. There was a women's group chat. They were planning their 50th birthday party for all of them, and it all went to hell.
I can't wait to hear about that. Well, speaking of going to hell, Meta and everyone responsible for it is on the way there. Criminal scams flooding Instagram and Facebook, and they don't want to do anything about it. We're going to get into that too. So.
But they don't want to do anything about anything.
No, and it's all their fault. All of that and more on today's Echo Chamber Podcast. So I did this insane gig this weekend, Trent.
This was the summer camp.
I went to a summer camp, a sleepaway adult sleepaway camp. By the way, if you're an adult and you're going to a sleepaway camp,
you're done. Put a bullet in your head.
You're done. There are people who have no idea what's going on in the world, and they're running as fast as they can. And so it was in Maryland.
Yeah.
And I go with Sean Millay, comic, friend of the show.
Welcome anytime.
Yeah. And the New Jersey Transit was on strike.
Yes, I knew that.
So we had to take a ferry to New Jersey, where his dad picked us up.
And his dad took you to summer camp.
And then, pretty much. His dad took us back to their house in New Jersey, where we borrowed the truck and drove to summer camp.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly right. It was, and by the way, very hilarious people. His dad was the funniest person I've ever met.
Really?
Oh, so funny.
Wow.
He picked us up, and he was just... That building, your cousin owned it. It went out of business. She lost everything.
Sure.
His mom would be, doesn't it look beautiful, the river? And then Sean's back there like, yeah. Anyway, we get to this summer camp. We take a boat to a fucking dad to a car.
Yeah.
Get to this summer camp, and it's just like, we go into this cabin where we're staying. There's 11. We were hoping that we had like our own, 2 beds in like a separate room.
No.
It's a room. It's got 11 beds in it. 11 twin.
It's like a summer camp. It's a literal summer camp.
And there's
like
11 beds
in the movies.
Like you see in the movies, yeah. Well, there was a lot of people camping outside in tents and stuff. Mm-hmm. But we go to this cabin. There's these twin beds with no sheets on them. And stains that look dark red.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's no good.
So we go to the barn where the show's going to be. So we're booked to do stand up there.
Yeah.
And we go to the show, and there's a guy who's like, whatever. He's like the person doing the sound or whatever and for the show. And we check in with him. We go, hey man, there's no sheets in the bed. And he goes, oh yeah, let me see if I can grab someone. Let me see if I can grab Amy for that. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever
anytime they say that, anytime you ask somebody, let me grab Amy, I don't need to know her fucking name.
I don't need to know her fucking name.
Just
do it. Make it happen.
Yeah, just do it. Don't tell me what your fucking plan. Yeah.
He pages timidly on the radio.
Yeah.
Other people are talking on the channel, having a different conversation. He's like, also, for hospitality, when you get a chance, could someone...
Yeah, the headlining comedians, they don't have any sheets.
There's no sheets. He's trying to radio, and then he's like, let me just try my cell phone. He's like, the service is bad. And then he's just bullshitting around for 20 minutes go by.
Yeah.
And then I go back over to him. I'm like, hey man, is there a tent where these people are working? I'll just go walk to them and find them. And he goes, yeah, actually they're right outside. I go, oh, great. Because I was standing here for 20 minutes.
Right,
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
And then I walk out the door. They're right there. Jesus Christ. I'm going to walk up to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, how's it going, whatever, guys? And we're like, we're good. Yeah, everything looks cool except for the bed had the stains on it. And they go, okay, well, you haven't camped before?
Yeah, well, it's a summer camp, so there's going to be blood stains on the beds.
yeah. They acted like we're crazy.
Apparently, somebody who's never seen Friday the 13th, there's going to be some blood stains on the beds, okay?
Yeah, and we want sheets, and they go, oh, yeah. They page another lady.
Yeah.
We stand there for fucking 12 minutes while waiting for her to come. And they're telling us about the different fucking teams or whatever there are. They're like different houses. There's like Flubber Wagon and fucking Laserface or like the teams or whatever the fuck.
Oh my God.
So the whole thing, I'm soured on the whole thing. But the show was actually really fun.
Show was fun.
It filled up completely. The whole barn was full.
Really?
And they laughed at we shat all over the place, and they laughed at the jokes. So they
really?
were in on. They were like, yeah, this
now, what was the age? So your age?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. It was my generation. Yeah.
Wow.
It was and older. It was actually Gen X and millennials. Literally no one under like 28 probably.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some 25-year-olds, but like there wasn't a lot of
wow. And then it was just one night. You did one show.
One show, yeah.
Wow.
And some of the ladies there were busted, Trent. Absolutely busted right up.
You're shitting me.
Yeah. Well, Sean, I've got my beloved girlfriend.
Your beloved, yeah.
But
beloved.
Sean was on the prowl.
Sean was on the prowl.
Not to out him here,
yes.
But he was on the prowl, and so I was going to try to wingman him. So I'm looking around for him. We're looking around, and I mean, it was slim pickings.
Whoa, wow!
It was slim pickings, but the show was great. It was a weird little thing, and
wow. Now,
Joe took some shrooms by a lake, and it was a good time.
Oh well, we'll be talking about. Somebody took some shrooms in a story coming up, but now did you ever go to an actual sleepaway camp?
No, I never went to a sleepaway camp. I think it's bigger in the Jewish community.
Was it a Jewish thing?
No, not this one. But I know that summer camp, like a lot of Jews when their kids go to summer, the sleepaway camp.
Yeah.
My stepdad went to one in like Minnesota or something back in the fucking 50 years ago or whatever. Yeah. And there was a tree with the name Bobby Zimmerman carved into it.
But Robert Zimmerman, also known as Bob Dylan.
That's right. And they wondered if it was Bob Dylan instead.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, fun story there.
There you go. Well, I never went to. I went to basketball camp, and look how that turned out.
He's an athlete. Did you sleep there?
No, it was just during the day. I never did.
Yeah, I did some daytime bullshit, but we never did the.
No, I never stayed anywhere.
No.
But anyway,
well, that's probably for the best. People got Boy Scouts. They all get fucking
they all get fucking
ball sacks.
Yeah,
labia majoras, asshole, finger in the asshole, finger on the other one. So.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best.
I would hate for somebody to touch my labia majora. Well, Joe, this is our first story. This is from the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, from the Wall Street Journal.
Yes. Headline: Tiny Christian college makes the big time in ultimate frisbee.
Cool.
And I read that headline and I go, this sounds absolutely radical.
We don't need sex, drugs, or rock and roll. We've got ultimate.
Well, opponents complain the school's road to disc dominance is unfairly paved with gold.
Oh, because they're the richest kids in America.
They're rich kids.
They're rich kids. Of course they're great at disc golf.
Well, ultimate frisbee is not a typical sport. We know that. It take frisbee. They take everything in about frisbee, throw that out the window. The game, which involves passing the disc down a 70-yard field, is officiated by the players and governed by a doctrine that prioritizes, quote, the basic joy of play above winning. When things get too heated, teams call a spirit timeout to defuse the situation.
Well, you know what I say, Trent. Winning's not everything. It's the only thing.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
Win or go home, I say too.
Yeah, you say that before.
I say win or go home as well.
I've heard you say that. You say that before every set.
Yeah, and they say there's no I in team, and I say, well, there's no we either.
No, there's a goddamn ME. But something happened a few years ago that shook the sport to its hippie core. A tiny Christian college took over. Wow. Oklahoma Christian University. And I bet there's some busted girls over there.
Might be some dimes down there.
That's
you never
true.
know.
You never know. A private school north of Oklahoma City advertising a, quote, world-class education rooted in Christian values, has built a Frisbee powerhouse by offering scholarships to lure top players, many of whom already had a college degree. OC's dominance, the Eagles, have won 2 Division III national championships since their first full season in 2021.
They're not even D1.
And seeking another this weekend
gives a fuck?
has divided the world of competitive Frisbee. Now, I don't even know if there's a D1 Ultimate Frisbee League. Quote, are we going to have Russian oil tycoons owning Frisbee teams and World Cups in Saudi Arabia for Ultimate Frisbee?
This is the world we are
said
in now.
Mike.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Micah Ehrenstein.
That's the world
deal
we're
with
in.
it. Deal
It's probably because of the way you voted.
Well, he's a junior who competes on Kenyan College's team. Or do we want to keep the smaller but really tight-knit and beautiful community that we have? So he's OKCU. OC's takeover started in 2019 when the school established a school program to persuade top talent from around the world to relocate to Edmond, Oklahoma. The early recruits included 4 graduating seniors from the Air Force Academy, a member of the Dutch national Frisbee team, and a former star at Texas Tech.
It's just a ragtag team of rich kids,
Yeah,
rich
right.
whites.
For a game to play a game that literally nobody could give it less of a shit about.
They grabbed white kids from every corner of the white world.
College, yeah, it's not really a sport when you're recruiting a Dutch guy.
yeah. We need the best.
College Ultimate Frisbee is run by an entity called USA Ultimate, not the NCAA, which restricts Division III schools from offering athletic scholarships. USA Ultimate also grants 5 years of college eligibility, meaning there is a universe of Division I graduates with an extra year of Frisbee services to dish. OC pounced, scouring the world for athletes to enroll as graduate students to extend their careers. The strategy paid immediate dividends. It won a national title in its first season of post-pandemic play and added a second the next year, but it didn't win many friends. Quote, they take it too seriously, said 21-year-old Isaiah Curtis, who captains a team of Claremont College's students called the Brain Eaters, named for a 1958 movie some alums planned to watch but couldn't because they had taken psychedelic mushrooms.
What?
So
they named a team after a movie from the 50s that they planned to watch.
They planned to watch,
didn't because they took shrooms?
Because they freaked out.
So that's the vibe they're going for.
That's what they're
want. Like, our thing is named after that fucking shitty movie from the 50s that we were going to watch, but we took shrooms.
Yes, that we freaked
These guys
out
are recruiting rich Dutch assholes to come in and fucking ruin it.
They're actually,
I kind of feel for these guys.
They're
now.
actually trying, yeah.
And
then the Brain Eaters, they're like, we're just here to have fun.
Yeah, why are we getting our ass pounded every Monday?
Fucking tore his Achilles.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. D3 scholarships over here.
So I'm Team Brain Eaters.
Yeah, which is something I never thought I'd
I never thought I would say either. But now, you know me, was not much of an athlete once I.
Well, you went to basketball camp.
I went to basketball camp, and I once scored 19 points in a game, which I bring up.
That's way more than I ever scored. I scored 5 points over the course of 5 years.
Yeah. I once scored 19 points, and I would have scored more, but I got a bloody nose from
the night he put it all on the court.
I put it all on the line. And
did you guys win?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, after a performance like that, I hope so.
Well, but then after that, I kind of quit trying. And one time in gym class in high school, I got in trouble. We were playing kickball, and I kicked the ball, and then I just started walking and to the base, and it was not a home run.
So they threw you out.
They threw me out, and then the teacher.
She goes, you gotta try, Trent.
The teacher, it was a guy, and he called me over, and he goes, "You gotta change your attitude," which is not a great feeling.
Now they officiate these games themselves, right? The students?
Yes.
Because when I was in 8th grade, we would do volleyball in the gym during gym class sometimes, and they would have 8th graders could be the line judge.
Yes,
and I would be the line judge, and I would just blow the whistles and make up a new hand gesture for a made up foul.
That's pretty fun.
Completely derail the game, and the teacher would get mad, but not enough to stay and take over.
Yeah.
So she would still just be like, "Just please stop."
That's pretty fun. Did you
Sort
have
of a
to
fun
do
prank? Yeah, it's a bit of a fun prank.
It's a fun
I did.
prank. If there's any high school students listening, maybe write, maybe
bit of a fun
write
prank.
that one down. Keep it in the back. Now, did you have to do the presidential physical fitness test?
Well, I don't know if it was presidential, but I'm sure we did some sort of physical fitness test.
Well, we had the presidential physical fitness test, which I believe was initiated by George W.
Taft?
Bush.
Oh,
George W.
okay.
Bush, my favorite, the best president.
The
we
last
ever-
honest man.
the last good man.
Yeah, the last good man, they call him.
They call him the last good man, and but anyway, yeah, you had to do so many sit-ups and push-ups, and you had to run a mile. And I also got in trouble for doing that, for running the mile, because at the very end, I gave my friend a piggyback ride across
Across the finish line.
across the finish line, and that was frowned upon. But anyway,
Well, yeah, pranks are fun. So
pranks are fun. That's why I know I would be on the Brain Eaters. At last year's 16-team national championship tournament, OC garnered the lowest spirit score. in aggregation,
0 pep.
An aggregation of ratings determined by each team's competitors in categories like fair-mindedness and attitude, which
They don't
doesn't sound like a Christian college.
And now they're cold-blooded killers, these guys. They're going there for fucking one goal and one goal only.
Yeah.
Not to make friends.
Yeah.
Here to kick ass and take names.
Like Jesus wanted.
You might be here to fuck around on Monday, but I'm not.
Yeah. Quote, "It's not necessarily an unfair advantage," said Gabe Cabrera, who designed OC's scholarship
A
program.
privileged white guy.
It's just indicative of your poor game planning and execution as a competitor.
Yeah, okay.
Asshole. He's an asshole and a pig.
Yeah, it's always talent when you're coming from the place of privilege.
Yeah, asshole and a pig. Gabe Cabrera. Fuck you. But, quote, "People don't like to lose," said former OC coach Garrett Taylor, another asshole. If I'd have been in their shoes, I might have been saying the same stuff. So, this year, OC qualified for the Nationals for the fourth time in 5 years, hoping to cement its legacy as a top Frisbee school. Which
They're going for the 3-peat.
Yeah, they're going for a three-peat, and I can't think of anything sadder than trying to attempt to be a top Frisbee school. It also hopes to shed its reputation as the evil empire of the sport.
They're the Empire.
Yeah. Inspired partly by the hit Apple TV show Ted Lasso. By the way, a show I'll never watch just based on the people that have told me to watch it.
Yeah, it's usually my aunt.
Sammy Roberts, a former Connecticut recruit who is now OC's captain and coach, turned his attention to team building. The school has largely stopped recruiting graduate students. Quote, we were kind of playing for each other, but we were really just playing to win, said Roberts, and I don't think that was as much fun, if I'm being honest. On Sunday, the Eagles were bounced from the tournament, ending their title hopes.
It's over.
So it's done. It was a losing strategy. Playing for fun is a losing strategy.
So they started playing for fun and then they lost.
Yeah, and then they lost.
Now they're pissed that they lost.
Now they're pissed, yeah.
They go, we'll never do it again. Lesson learned.
Never have fucking fun again.
Well, one thing I know a lot of people will never do again, Trent, is buy the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, well, I can't believe they would do it at all.
Well, they splurged on it, and
Yeah.
1 year later, it still hurts.
Stupid idiots.
Apple's headset, I don't feel bad for a single person in
No,
the story. It's awesome.
Stupid idiots.
Apple's headset launched to great fanfare. No, it didn't. But all these buyers got were dirty looks, and everyone was
no
deserved. Early adopters of Apple Vision Pro's headsets have one thing to show for the year they've spent with their pricey purchases: regret. Quote,
Shame.
it's just collecting dust, Dustin Fox said about his mixed reality headset.
Dustin Fox.
Mixed reality headset.
Mixed
Fuck
reality.
off. Which looks like a futuristic pair of ski goggles. Quote, I think I've probably used it 4 times in the last year.
What a retard.
The $3,500 device sits in a bin with other gadgets he no longer picks up.
Jesus Christ.
The Vision Pro launched in February of 2024 with great promise. It was Apple's first major product
What
release.
promise?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Well, it was Apple's first major product release in years. So the expectation was that this is,
Yeah.
they haven't put out anything since the iPhone.
Yeah, the only person that thought it was a good idea was that fucking asshole Tim Cook.
He's such a dipshit. say what you want about Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
I think he was probably an evil guy, but
Yeah.
but he at least had a pair of fucking nuts between his legs, and he took some fucking chances on some new ideas. All this guy was added different fucking colors to the iPhone, and then got scared and went back to black and white. He's a fucking coward and an asshole. And now he wants to make a fucking pair of dumb fuck goggles for me to wear, and he ought to be lined up against a brick wall. They ought to inject him with whatever rare form of cancer Steve Jobs had. Well, anyway, it was released with great promise. Take for that what you will. But buyers who wore them in the wild say they got nothing but dirty looks and sore necks. The device is literally a pain in the neck. Fox, a realtor in Centerville, Virginia, bullshit job in a bullshit place, had to have the Vision Pro as soon as it launched. He just had to have it. He just had to have it. Quote, I'm like a little boy when something new comes out.
Oh my God.
By the way, he's 46.
Sickening. Absolutely sickening.
46-year-old thought he'd use it for work. Then he put it on his head.
Weird.
It's way too heavy, Fox said about the device, which weighs just over a pound. I can't wear it for more than 20 or 30 minutes without it hurting my neck.
He's a fucking weak neck loser.
He's a weak neck bitch. Do some fucking crunches, dude, or something. Tovia Goldstein was excited to wear his headset to watch movies and TV shows, but he ended up needing...
when I want to watch a TV show or movie, I want it fucking 3 inches from my face.
Yeah, I want to strap a fucking bowling ball to my fucking head. That's why I miss my mouth when I'm shoveling popcorn into my face. Falls all over the ground.
I'm sorry. I hate to hear that he didn't like it because that's how I was planning on watching Avatar 3.
Ash and fire. What's going to become of these products? Goldstein thinks from time to time about getting the headset out of the closet and dusting it off to see if any new apps have been added. The pain in the neck he gets. Plus,
I talked about this last time. I love to browse the app store for all new apps.
Yeah. Usually, like I like Friday, like at the end of the work week.
Yeah.
Just have like a nice glass of red wine. Put my phone down. Well, actually, pick
it up.
Pick it back up.
Actually, and then, I put my phone down. I put my phone down, and then I pick up my iPad.
Yeah, I like to grab my iPad and just browse the App Store.
Yeah, browse the App
Well,
Store.
the other
See
problem
what
with
new
this
apps
thing
drop.
is they made like 3 apps for it.
Yeah.
And then no one bought it, so they stopped making apps
Right.
for it because they needed to use people elsewhere in the company.
Right.
So now anyone who has one is like, you can just play like Jenga on the, or like you can play Tetris on this.
snake.
And that's it. Yeah. So there's nothing to do on it. Ashel Sag.
Asshole.
He's an asshole.
He's an asshole.
Used to take his Vision Pro on flights to watch movies.
Oh my God.
I got pretty dirty looks from people.
Why couldn't he have been on one of those that fucking the door opened up? Flew out.
Yeah, one that capsized. I got dirty looks. Another reason the 35-year-old stopped flying with it, the size of the case. It sold separately for $200. The Vision Pro's pillow.
He's got to carry on his fucking.
Yeah,
Apple
so
Vision
it's 9 inches wide and 6.5 inches deep. It takes up half of the volume of my carry-on, said Sag. When Anthony Rasciendo wore his set for nearly 6-hour flight to Las Vegas, the flight attendant kept rolling the drink cart past him without asking if he wanted anything.
Good. You don't deserve to drink.
Excuse me. She's like, no, we're not.
No, not a
we're
fucking
not doing
chance in
that.
hell.
Should have also
Should have
tried.
brought your own Diet Coke, honey.
Yeah, he also tried wearing the device in the office, thinking he could fill out spreadsheets and type emails at the media studio he runs. But colleagues either made fun of him or told him he looked creepy and asked for him to take it off.
Yeah.
He recently sold his Vision Pro online for $1,900. Now, there is one fan.
No.
Yam Olisker,
Yam.
another Apple super fan.
Good God.
Thought the Vision Pro would be the next iPhone. He flew from New York to Israel to be one of the first people to buy the headset. At the store, he met Tim Cook, and got him to sign the back of his iPhone and Vision Pro box. Can you imagine? Can you really imagine?
No, I can't.
Mr. Cook!
Oh, Mr. Cook, may I have your autograph, please? But also, I can't imagine doing that. But then also imagine he probably doesn't have any friends to talk to or anything. But if your friend came up to you and was like, check this out, I got Tim Cook's autograph.
Well,
fucking slap
I think this will put things into perspective.
Yeah.
He's a 20-year-old YouTuber. So, yeah.
Yam. And he flew
From Israel.
from Israel to New York.
Yeah. Yeah. He still loves watching movies with his Vision Pro. I wish he was on the other side of the...
I just wish he was at that music festival.
Music festival. Wait, which one?
I'm not going to explain.
Okay. He still loves watching movies with his Vision Pro, especially 3D films like the recent Metallica. Sold as an immersive experience.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. He even figured out how to get through the movies without the weight of the Vision Pro bothering him. I lay in bed.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. He lays in bed with his fucking...
Yeah, if you bought a Vision Pro, you're a fucking idiot and you deserve whatever broken neck you've got.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Well, Joe, this deals with the iPhone.
Let's get into this group chat, Trent.
Our favorite product,
I'm ready to dive in.
Our favorite product, the iPhone, from our favorite section of the journal, the personal journal. Headline, how a group chat to plan a girls' trip went off the rails.
They always do.
Yep.
They always do.
They always do.
Women be shopping, but they'd be causing drama in the group chat.
And this is written by Julie Jargon.
Julie Jargon.
Yeah, so Julie Jargon wrote this one. And it's about group chats, women's group chats. So
just a lady named Jargon writing about group chats. Yeah. Nothing new here.
Yeah. 6 longtime friends wanted to go on a girls' trip last year. 5 were turning 50, and they wanted to do something special. So in early 2024, they did what everybody does these days. They began planning the trip in their group chat.
Okay.
Few tests of friendship are more daunting. The women...
This is why I don't want to go back to an iPhone, by the way.
Yeah.
Everyone goes, you get an iPhone so you can be in the group chat. I don't want to be in the group chat.
No, I don't want to be in the group chat.
I don't want to be in any group chat.
It's the worst thing. No.
No.
It's horrendous.
I don't want to participate in one. I don't want to get notifications from one.
I couldn't agree more, Joe. And but
that's why you're my podcast partner. Put her there, T-Bone.
And but anyway, also you can't leave. If you leave,
there's no way out. There's literally no way out.
If you leave, you'll never talk to those people again because it's one of the rudest things you could do.
If they get a notification, it's the last thing you see is
maybe left
the group chat.
Left the group chat, and they're like, "Hey, well, I guess
it looks like an act of war."
Yeah,
it's so dramatic to leave.
Yeah, so it's impossible. You're stuck forever. The women, who had formed a tight-knit group in the early 2000s when most were working for New York fashion magazines, are now spread across the country. Some of them had been on trips together with their children before, to Palm Springs, California, Mystic, Connecticut, Ibiza, and Iceland. This trip was to be a long weekend with all the girls and no kids.
Ooh.
The goal was to meet up somewhere chic that April. Cartagena, Colombia, emerged as a top pick. It's tropical, not too expensive, and none of the well-traveled women had been there.
Colombia sounds like a great place to go.
Some expressed
I hope they all got detained in fucking
Some expressed concerns about whether they would have easy access to food that met dietary requirements. So if I were planning a group trip...
Which you often have.
I often have. You know, I love to plan, and I love to go on vacation, and I love group trips. But if I were planning a group trip and somebody goes, do you think they'll be able to, the location we go to, do you think they'll be able to meet my dietary restrictions? I would cancel the...
I'd say I'm out. I'm out.
Forget it. That's what
we're talking about Colombia.
Forget it.
It's beans and rice and shit. Can you have beans and chicken?
Yeah. Sorry, I would say fuck you. I don't know why we were friends in the first place. Forget it. Some were also concerned about safety, which you mentioned. They began throwing out other ideas, including Tulum, Mexico. I'm sure another safe place. Aspen, Colorado, and Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Jackson Hole.
Group chats are unwieldy.
Okay.
And we all know that, Joe. They're unwieldy.
Thanks, Jessica Jargon.
and fraught for everyone from teenagers to national security officials.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, the volley of texts can easily give rise to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and chaos. How could 6 busy people juggling careers, children, or both possibly plan a trip this way? Not to mention a group of self-described Type A women with a long history of drama.
They all have a long history
That's
of drama?
what they say, apparently. They're Type A women with a long history of drama.
I'm a catty bitch who lives for it.
And I hate to be like sexist. But I can count on one hand the amount of arguments I've gotten into it with my friends, with my
just
guy
in your
friends.
life.
Yeah,
just ever in your life.
yeah.
Really?
What about you, Joe? Well, we've had one, I think.
Yeah, and we don't need to bring that up.
We don't need to bring it up. It's water on the bridge.
Why don't we just move on to the story?
It's water on the bridge. We don't need to bring it up. Their story makes you wonder how the 3 ladies in season 3 of The White Lotus ever made it to Thailand. Courtney Gavela Robinson offered to have everyone stay at her home in Nashville, Tennessee. Quote, "We're the closest ride or die best friends, but oh my God, do we fight," said Erin Ovasi, a stay-at-home mom in Stamford, Connecticut.
These people all sound so insufferable.
Yeah. Amory Kibler.
They all used to be fashion people in New York in the early 2000s.
And then they quit. They
They're
gave
the
up
most annoying people in the world.
Yeah. Amory Kibler, an online entrepreneur, bullshit job in Putnam Valley, New York, suggested Miami along with some other stateside options. Elise Wilson, a freelance stylist in Los Angeles, agreed. I was like, let's just go to Miami. It's fun. It's the beach, and everyone can get there easily, she told me. Some people didn't think it was spectacular enough.
It's not nearly spectacular.
For our 50th. It's just not spectacular enough. So Rachel... sometime in February, Courtney jokingly suggested Dubai. Her friends weren't amused. For one thing, Dubai in 3 days wasn't realistic.
That's not funny, Courtney.
Yeah,
We're trying to figure this out.
This group chat, it's really not for jokes.
I like how I still don't see how this makes it into the paper, but
well, you haven't seen anything yet.
well, I guess I'll buckle up.
You better strap the fuck in. So her friends, she said Dubai, and her friends weren't amused. We hadn't heard from Courtney for days, and all of a sudden she's like, "What about Dubai?" Anthea King, a hair and makeup artist in Austin, Texas, told me. You're not a hair and makeup artist, honey. You're a poor. Rachel Castaldi, a part-time preschool teacher in Princeton, New Jersey, said as it wasn't clear that Courtney was joking. You can't determine someone's tone over text, Rachel says. It's not like he knew this fucking bitch for 50 years.
What's so funny about this to me is like all the jobs you're describing, like you could not afford to go to Dubai. So they're clearly all just trophy wives.
That's true. Yeah,
like
you don't now, Joe.
She's a part-time preschool teacher
in Princeton,
suggesting
New Jersey.
Dubai. I'm just saying.
Well, the ladies, they were also miffed because, joke or no joke, the Dubai suggestion was yet another derailment in a group chat already
Courtney's derailing.
Of course. Just after Valentine's Day, Anthea threw out what she thought was a more sensible location. 30A, a long stretch of scenic highway between Panama City and Destin, Florida, known for its beaches. Anthea described the area as the Hamptons of the South. It proved almost as divisive as Dubai.
Wow.
Quote, a couple of the girls were like, I'm not going to the Panhandle for my 50th. They were kind of snotty about it. So these women...
Not going to the fucking Panhandle.
These women obviously hate each other.
The fucking Panhandle.
Next. Anthea gave up. Quote, I'm out, she texted. It was then that Elise, Courtney, and Rachel did the thing that always seems sensible but ultimately adds more drama. They created a side chat, and they realized all three still have their hearts set on Cartagena. I quote, I don't know who initiated the 3-person text chain, but that's when things got bad, Elise says. In early March, Anthea got wind of it and was hurt. When Anthea said she was out, she
was hurt?
She was hurt.
Oh, no, I see why it's in the newspaper.
She was hurt, Joe.
Oh, no, I see why it's in there.
She left the group chat, and then they started a new one, and she was hurt. and you may think it's funny, but I know.
And she called the Wall Street Journal.
And I don't.
She goes, I have a story.
I left a group chat where my friends, we couldn't agree. We kept fighting about where we wanted to go for our 50th birthday, and I quit. And then they started one without me, and I'm hurt. So Julie Jargon, she called her back. She said, I'm on the case. So, and you may think doesn't qualify as journalism, but I beg to differ. So
this is the worst newspaper that's ever existed. We have a podcast about the worst newspaper of all time. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably bad.
Well, In early March, Anthea got wind of it and was hurt. And when Anthea said she was out, she meant she was done planning the trip. She said she had wanted to go to Cartagena all along. Now she felt left out. So Anthea reached out to Amory, the peacekeeper of the group. And
we've come to the peacekeeper.
And maybe Palestine and Israel could learn.
Wasn't that where they landed?
Yeah, they decided to go to Palestine.
They decided to go to the Strip.
Yes. The hot new vacation destination, the Gaza Strip, yes. She called me very upset and said, "Did you know they're planning a separate trip? Why do they not want me to be a part of this trip?" recalls Amory, who tried to assure Anthea no slight was intended. Anthea returned to the chat, quote, "Okay, guys, well, I guess you're planning a trip, but I'm not in the loop," she wrote. "You are always in the loop. Stop it," Rachel typed back. Rachel apologized to Anthea for making her feel excluded, said no firm plans had been made. "Then I felt better," Anthea said.
Oh, good.
Yes.
The
So,
end.
well, not just yet, Joe. By mid-March, though, the planning had lost steam. Quote, "This
By the way, fuck you for this.
This is definitely
Fuck you for doing
This is
this.
definitely a girl's trip gone wrong." Rachel says,
You're doing this at me.
Now chats are resumed to celebrate their 51st birthdays.
unbelievable.
The group still hasn't settled on a date or place. I asked all 6 women where things currently stand. I got 6 different answers. Amory asked the group if they could swing a weekend in June. Crickets. Lisa's building a house near Joshua Tree, California, and says it might be easiest if everyone meets there this fall. Then again, fall might not work for everyone. Late last month, Courtney put Cartagena back on the table.
So it's looking like Cartagena. That's the end of it?
So the articles were sort of all for naught.
God damn it.
They didn't go anywhere. They didn't go anywhere.
Why was that in the newspaper? I don't understand. I thought someone was going to get murdered. I mean, it's just a group chat about whether or not they're going to go to fucking Cartagena.
Not only is it a group chat about women arguing, but there's no resolution.
There's no resolution.
They didn't go anywhere.
Just women are mad at each other. Julie Jargon's just making people more mad at women. Jesus Christ.
Extra women are mad at each other.
Well, in our final story, I will say that we do have an actual story. And this one, Trent, will probably make your blood boil more than the last. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Criminal scams flood Instagram and Facebook. Meta profits from ads for fake puppies, phony bargains. They make money on the ads.
Yes. Meta.
That's the company.
Famous for doing the right thing.
You're going to find out how much they've not been doing the right thing.
Jesus Christ.
For almost 2 years, Edgar Guzman has been getting calls from irate customers who responded to his ads on Instagram and Facebook, or at least they thought they were his ads. Guzman's company, called Half Off Wholesale, offers home improvement supplies and garden equipment in bulk out of a suburban Atlanta warehouse. The ads offer steep discounts that are mouth-watering to bargain hunters. $29 for pallet of power tools. $29, and mixed boxes of returned Amazon.com merchandise.
Yeah, I bet some of your costumes are on there.
Exactly, with a starting bid of just $1. But when people send their payments, the products never arrive.
Yeah.
When they call Guzman to complain, he has to deliver the bad news.
They've been had.
Quote, "What sucks is we've had to break it to people that they've been scammed. We don't even do online sales," he said, noting that customer complaints about ripoffs generate bad online reviews for real businesses.
Yes.
Quote, "We keep reporting pages to Meta, but nothing happens."
Yeah.
Well, Meta Platforms, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, my two favorite apps, is increasing a cornerstone of the internet fraud economy, according to regulators, banks, and internal documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. The company accounted for nearly half of all reported scams.
Whoa.
On Zelle and J.P. Morgan Chase.
Zelle,
whatever the fuck, between 2023 and 2024.
Wow.
An internal analysis from 2022 described in company documents likewise found that 70% of newly active advertisers on the platform are promoting scams.
70%.
70% of people paying for ads on Facebook are paying for a scam.
Good Lord. That's crazy.
And they make money, obviously, off of anyone placing an ad for anything.
Yeah.
So that's let me hop over here. A Meta spokesperson said the company is working to address an epidemic of scams that has grown in complexity
I'm
in
sure
recent
they'll fix
years.
it just like that fucking AI that loves to talk about having sex with kids.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to fix it because they also said in a federal court that it bears no legal responsibility to address the issue. So they like to kind of say whatever they want.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Quote, the alleged under-enforcement of Meta's monitoring policies cannot give rise to liability, the company wrote last year in a motion to dismiss a lawsuit alleging negligence in removing cryptocurrency impersonation scams, adding that it, quote, does not owe a duty to users to address fraud on its platforms. Then who does? Meta's lax approach has helped fuel the professionalization of social media fraud by international criminal networks in Southeast Asia, said Aaron West, a recently retired Santa Clara County prosecutor who helped author a U.S. Institute for Peace report last year on such activity. The report estimated organized scamming operations, often called pig butchering groups, comprise hundreds of thousands of people, many trafficked after falling for fraudulent social media employment ads. Kept in prison-like compounds, the workers are forced to work under threat of extreme forms of torture and abuse.
What?
So the people that are generating the ad scams are human trafficked people who fell for a scam of their own on social media for a job and flew to Southeast Asia for a job and then were put in shackles and in front of a laptop in Southeast Asia in order to scam other people.
That's horrendous.
Yeah, you could that, to say it lightly.
Yeah.
West said the growth of this nightmarish industry stems directly from inaction of Meta and to a lesser extent its social media peers.
Jesus Christ.
Quote, if there's anybody who could make a huge dent here, it's Meta, she said. But there's no hammer over their heads. Losses to scams on Meta can range into hundreds of thousands of dollars, but there's seemingly no target too small.
Yeah, there should be a hammer over their head like fucking Pelosi's husband.
They should be Pelosi.
Yeah.
Quote, if the revenue is coming from fraud, what is their incentive to protect people? Asked Johnson, a 58-year-old artist and jewelry maker. It feels like Meta is helping the scammers out. One of the most common scams seen by bank involves the sale of pets, despite Meta's rules, quote, banning peer-to-peer sales or trade of live animals outside of narrow contexts. Documents reviewed by the journal show that Meta has deprioritized scam enforcement in recent years, emphasizing the avoidance of erroneous and takedowns over safety concerns. The company has also been cutting costs and shifting resources to other issues.
What do they prioritize over there?
The bottom line. The company abandoned plans for advertiser verification requirements, similar to what it mandates for political ads, people familiar with the matter say, on the grounds that it worried about losing revenue from marketers unwilling and unable to pass identity checks.
The evil scumbags.
One 2022 document described a lack of investment in building automated tools to identify scams. The work's low priority within Meta was codified in an update that year of its content moderation processes that put more resources into addressing human trafficking and content promoting suicide and self-harm and less on anti-spam measures. A mid-2022 analysis of the reprioritization found out that this resulted in a 46% drop in likely scams reviewed by Facebook groups. Because of a safe harbor in U.S. telecommunications law known as Section 230, platforms are generally shielded from liability for user-created content. Whether those protections apply to Meta's ads is now being tested by Andrew Forrest, an Australian mining billionaire and philanthropist who became frustrated in 2019 when Meta's failure to remove fraudulent investment advertisements using his image in an AI-cloned voice. In the motion to dismiss the case last year, Meta argued that it is under no obligation to require investment advertisers to verify their identities or demonstrate that they are licensed to sell products. Quote, because Meta has no duty to protect users from third-party content on its platform, plaintiff cannot see...
It's all third-party content.
Plaintiff cannot state a negligence claim. So they basically say if you fall for something, that's because you fell for it, and... we don't have to. So I think legally, they're under no obligation to protect anybody, and so therefore, they're not.
Yeah.
But they also are making money off of
Right.
these ads for these scams.
Yes, yes.
And if it's 70% of the ads, you do the math.
Yeah, right.
And those ads are doing the ads is the job of people in a prison camp in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, they've shackled them to the radiator.
So if you're shackled to a radiator and you're literally doing a thing that is putting money in Mark Zuckerberg's pocket and taking advantage of like the elderly. And you're also a slave. So that is that story. We probably should have ended with the group chat one, to be honest.
Oh my God.
But yeah, truly one of the most horrendous things I've ever read. And, you know,
Wow.
I guess part of this podcast is not always funny, but
It's not always funny.
you learn something new about these god-awful fucking
insane.
companies. Yeah.
Jeez.
It's pretty spooky. So they should maybe pass a law requiring them to take some kind of onus on.
You would think, but that'll never happen. And
Now they own the government.
they own the
federal
government.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg donated $1 million to Trump's
A little bit more than that.
yeah, whatever, his inauguration thing or whatever. Wow. Well,
Well,
I don't know how this could be the same paper that Julie Jargon writes for.
that is what I'm wondering. How did they produce this? This is a hard-hitting journalism right here. This has got some mustard behind it. And they also had Julie Jargon's group chat.
A bunch of 50-year-old cunts who couldn't figure out where they wanted to go for their 50th birthday.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a trip to Southeast Asia?
I got a job for you.
I got a job for you.
Wow. Well, Joe, I think that about wraps it up.
That about wraps it up. We wish we had a palate cleanser for you today. We wish we had maybe a pepper and salt, but honestly, they've been really on their game. They've been honestly some of the best cartoons I've read in a long time.
Yeah, they really have.
Maybe we should just from now on just read one even if they're not.
Maybe it'd be fair game to give pepper
Be fair
and salt.
game to maybe give them a good.
Not
chance.
all our episodes are hot ones either.
That's true. You can't always bat 1,000. Well, as always, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share, rate, review.
Yeah, all that shit.
Suck a guy off. Thanks for watching. This is Joe Nunnick tuning signing out. But wait. If you're watching this, maybe it's Monday, May 26th. And if that's the case, then today, my special Keep the Change is available for early access on the 800-Pound Gorilla website. So if you're a fan of the pod, please check out 800poundgorilla.com. My special is out, www.http:// 800 Gorilla Media. And check out the special. So it will be free to watch on YouTube June 10th. But as of today, it is available, baby. You can get your hands on it.
Wow. I know what I'll be doing after this.
Put her there. And this is Joe Nunnick signing out.
And this is Trent Mabry signing off.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.